Hamas has publicly demonstrated in recent days that it's made a decision to break away from the Iran-Syria axis and realign itself with the Arab states. This wasn't an easy decision for Hamas to make, but the regional dynamics are pushing Hamas into a very uncomfortable space in which growing divisions over the group's political trajectory could end up fracturing the Palestinian Islamist movement. Several events from the past few days have made it all but clear that Hamas's exiled leadership will no longer be calling Syria home. The group's exiled leaders are already dispersing among Arab capitals, including Cairo, Amman, and Doha. The relocation is due to Hamas's continued refusal to abide by Iranian demands to demonstrate its support for the Syrian regime against a Sunni-led opposition movement. Hamas's refusal of Iranian orders has reportedly cost the group roughly $300 million per year in Iranian aid, but Qatar now seems willing to make up for that gap. Just 2 days ago, Hamas announced an imminent deal with Qatar in which the Gulf Kingdom would give Hamas $250 million, ostensibly to rebuild Gaza. In another sign that Hamas is willing to risk a major rift with Iran and Syria, Gaza Prime Minister Ismail Haniya held a rally in Cairo last Friday in which he strongly voiced Hamas's support for the Syrian opposition. On the same day, a rally in Gaza featured a crowd of Palestinian protesters denouncing the Al Assad regime while Hamas police officers looked on. The main reason behind Hamas's shift can be found in Cairo. Hamas has watched how the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood, after decades of political repression, is gradually seeing its political fortunes rise in the post-Mubarak environment. Hamas, like the Syrian and Jordanian branches of the Muslim Brotherhood, wants to ride the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood's coattails. Hamas wants to break out of its own political isolation and gain legitimacy as a credible political movement that can claim to speak on behalf of the majority of Palestinians. To even attempt this, Hamas first has to answer to the Arab states, who see an opportunity to both undermine Iran's leverage in the Palestinian territories and gain influence over the Islamist Palestinian movement. Hamas needs financial backing and working relationships with the Arab states in order to break out of isolation, but those relationships also come at a very big cost. Abu Marzouk, the deputy leader of Hamas's Politburo, said in a recent interview with the Associated Press that the Iranians are not happy with our position on Syria, and when they are not happy, they don't deal with you in the same old way. Iran obviously doesn't want to lose its foothold in the Palestinian territories and is likely to rely more heavily on groups like Palestinian Islamic Jihad to maintain pressure on Israel. This could create serious complications for Hamas as it tries to maintain control over the militant landscape in Gaza. Apart from the Iran issue, Hamas is in internal contortions over how to proceed politically. Disagreements persist within the group over current efforts to form a unity government with Hamas's secular rivals in Fatah. Those disagreements reflect the fundamental divide that has long existed between the Gaza-based leadership of Hamas and those who live in exile. In addition, Hamas is likely to battle growing divisions within the movement between moderates leaning toward the Muslim Brotherhood model of Islamist government and more radical Salafists who reject that model altogether. It's still too early to tell whether these divisions will turn severe enough to fracture the group. Hamas, of course, wants to preserve its internal coherence, but it also is going to be mindful of the intentions of the Arab states that it's now getting close to. The regimes in Egypt and Jordan in particular do not want to see their authority threatened by the rise of political Islamists and have every reason to use their growing clout with Hamas to try and keep the group contained. Israel also would not mind seeing Hamas fracture as a way to weaken the broader Islamist movement. Hamas still has the reputation of being the most organized Palestinian organization, but their ability to hold on to that reputation is bound to get harder with time.